The slipper has chosen. The truth has been revealed. But what happens when the prince finally meets the girl, not as a mystery, but as her true self? Welcome to Ghibli World, where every story glows with wonder and heart. The room stood still. No one moved. No one spoke. The guard slowly looked at Cinderella, then at the glass slipper, and back again. "It fits," he said quietly. The words felt heavier than anything before. The stepsisters stepped back in disbelief. "You," one whispered. The stepmother tried to speak. This must be some mistake. But even she could hear the truth in the silence. Cinderella did not argue. She did not explain. She simply stood there, calm, steady, and real. The stepsisters stared at her, not as a servant, not as someone beneath them, but as someone they had never truly seen. "You were there, at the palace?" one asked. Cinderella nodded gently. A long pause followed, and in that silence, something changed. Not in the house, but in how they looked at her. The guard stepped forward. "You must come with us to the palace." Cinderella hesitated. Her eyes moved slowly across the room, the hearth, the floor she had cleaned, the quiet corners where she had spent her days. So many memories, not all of them kind. She took a slow breath, then nodded. "I will come," not with excitement, not with fear, but with quiet strength. She stepped forward, leaving behind the life that had held her for so long. The palace gates opened once again, tall, grand, and filled with light. Cinderella stepped inside. The same place where she had once felt like a dream, now felt real. People whispered as she passed. "Is she the one? She looks so simple, but there is something about her." Cinderella walked forward calmly. No magic gown, no shining carriage, just herself, and somehow, that felt stronger. At the end of the great hall, the prince stood waiting, still and silent, but the moment he saw her his expression changed. Not surprise, not confusion, recognition. "You came," he said softly. Cinderella looked at him. Yes, that single word carried everything. The prince stepped closer. "You were the one." That night, Cinderella nodded. "Yes." A pause. "You left so suddenly," he said. "I was afraid," she answered honestly. Afraid the moment would disappear. "If I stayed," the prince smiled gently. And yet, it never did. Silence filled the space between them, but it was no longer empty. It was full of understanding. The prince looked at her carefully. "You are not dressed as you were that night." Cinderella lowered her gaze slightly, but he continued, and still, "You are the same." He paused. "No, you are more." Cinderella looked up. For the first time, she did not feel small. She did not feel hidden. She felt seen. The prince slowly held out his hand, not as a command, but as a question. Cinderella looked at it, then at him, and gently, she placed her hand in his. Not because of magic, not because of fate alone, but because she chose to. And in that quiet moment, something new began. Not a dream, not an illusion, but a story built on truth, kindness, and courage. Subscribe to Ghibli World, where every story finds its true meaning.